Hello, everybody, and welcome to Heathen Cantina's presentation of Episode 10 of Legends of the Old Kingdoms. I'm your host, Asmo Danikar, and I'm very excited to be at the halfway point of this exciting adventure. The party has made their way from their hometown of Riverport, in some ways having outgrown it, to the city of Rockter, a larger establishment, but Rockter was quite literally plagued by the forces of hell, frozen over, if you will, and besieged by devils. The party dispatched them, fell in with the ruling class of the city. Let's be real, that's who they are, and befriended a councilman who needed a local task completed. And you made your way through a trap infested vault underneath this nobility's house and discovered connections to your own pasts in ways you didn't anticipate. Demons were dispatched, treasures were won, and a powerful artifact was revealed. Not the portable kind. No, this appears to be some sort of dial-a-plane, some sort of pocket well of the worlds, if you will, a means of opening gates if you have properly enchanted materials from the planes you wish to visit. Now, at some point after the fight, but before the discovery of the true nature and mechanism of this portal, the wizard has come up missing, perhaps dispatched back to seek an audience with their queen, or perhaps lost amidst the plains. Time will tell, won't they? Now, I'd like to introduce my awesome cast. Very excited to be here. Hope they are as well. We're gonna be doing some wing it stuff. We are without our wizard, and I wrote tonight's content with the wizard in mind. So that's gonna be interesting, isn't it? Now, my goal for last week, making them feel the absence. Well, I should get away with it. All right. So we're gonna start in the southern half of the screen with Kelton. Tell us who you are. Tell us who you're playing. And tell us what your character's take is on the turn of events. And I know you are a character with some multiplicity to you, so we
Mm.
understand.
Hey everybody, I'm Kelton. I'm playing Empty Pockets. He is our elven assassin slash grave cleric, addicted to a drug called uh Stilphane. Oh, there it is.
And it causes memory loss too.
That yeah. Actually, it allows him to, in some ways, access the memories or the essence of elves who have lived in the past. Theoretically, specifically shadow elves, because he's shadow elf. Um, he was a street rat and is new to this whole sort of like adventuring thing, but has been roped into it by these people that he now cares about very much. And God, his take on this. Last episode, we ended with MD and Eldine trying to take off with as much of the treasure that we found down there as we could. I
And being
think that
rudely chastised, as I recollect.
yes, I think we're going to update and deepen that conversation because Teller has some compelling arguments, I think. Um, uh, Empty also, um, he is so, interplanar fuckery does not really phase him the way it might some others because he's already in between realms as it is in some ways. um so it's like, oh, that's noteworthy. Also, that's absolutely unacceptable. That is terrible. So yeah, he's a little bit angry, which is unusual for him. And he wants to get to the bottom of this fast before whatever abyssal shenanigans are going to boil up out of the abyss and into the capital do so. Um, so yeah, he's going to agree with Teller's arguments and be a little bit more motivated and a little less spacey and try to get some shit done.
Hmm. So you suspect a larger plot that actually places the capital of Caleria in danger, not just these
Well,
cities on the other side of it.
possibly. We don't. I mean, we suspect that m- many cities have this demonic connection that goes back in this world forever, almost as might as well be, from our perspective. And now, as is inevitable, the abyss is also involved. It's the abyss. I mean, it doesn't get more unpredictable than the abyss, really. So, and now we've messed with whatever plan that was, and God knows we don't know what's going on at the Capitol. We don't know what the infighting precisely between the forces of the abyss and the infernal forces that are at play here is. So we have no idea what could be, but something crazy could go down there like tomorrow, and it would not be surprising at all. That's the way that he sees it. So we have all of these things on our plate, and there's a lot of things that we want to clean up here. But that's really scary because we have no idea. We don't know who the queen is. We don't know. We're like on the verge of like peeking over this edge and seeing like who the actual big players are in all of this plotting. And it's scary, and he's pissed about it because he's like, no, this is my world. Um, so yeah, that's where he's at.
Yeah. Yes, the
And
abyss
oh
is
yeah,
chaotic, evil, all caps, end.
uh,
Yeah, pick your
chaotic is
co-conspirator.
underlined
Yeah,
3 times and crossed out once.
and the C is actually like the old Procter and Gamble symbol with 666 on it.
Yes, exactly.
There goes any sponsorship we might have had. Look it up.
And if I'm picking a victim, I think I have to pick Teller, because Teller has some hot takes at the moment, I think. So
Bit of a
Hey
rebel.
y'all, I'm Arthur, a pilot teller, the way craftier than me bard, um, planar tiefling, uh, also of the planes. The planar aspect is an element of our storyline that has been sort of creeping in over time and has really sort of come to the forefront as what's defining the larger power structures of the world. I mean, we have evidence that empty pockets people in this plane were even brought here by the kind of planar incursion that we've just witnessed. Teller's people have stories of the same. In fact, he's hoping to go to their one of their safe holds to read some of the older tales to see if there's any information about how that sort of thing came about, why, what, who, any of those things. Um, our Auntie Eldine is uh, already a little too close with the demon who we have yet to see named. Um, and we've just discovered that Mirkala's not only is her kingdom under threat, the Wyvern Isles are under threat of potentially falling, but that the dragon who is the progenitor of her clan is not of this plane. There's a lot of multi-planar oddity that's been happening for some years. And as far as like the abyssal contracts go, I went back and found my notes, um, and wrote actual quotations down from
Chapter
Riz.
and verse.
Yeah, Riz, our Deathlock informant,
Hmm.
um, who gave us the bits, a centuries old contract between certain princes of hell and your mortal sovereigns, some of your finest kings and queens 500 years ago. 3 kingdoms worth. The Witch Kingdom, which is Caleria, we're in that. The Silver Kingdom, and I'm not sure what that is.
Northeast of here.
Okay. And the Dragon Empire, Kosa, which actually sort of fits because that's very backstabby anyway. Like that's all city states run by dragons who are all vying for power against each other. So if they see they can get an advantage by aligning with devils or demons, I see that very
Oh,
clearly.
remembering the lore of that campaign, I'm gonna give you inspiration for that. So that's one that we didn't televise, um, but we did a mini campaign in the in Dracosa, and we may have more elements of that in for season 3, which might be a while before we get to it because we're gonna do some other things next year. But it's also our backup plan if this is to suddenly go pear shape and we have a TPK or just one character lives through something because we roll in the open. We honor the rules. Anyway, I'm just saying we got backup plans within backup plans.
No.
I love that y'all are on board with the planar stuff. You gave me these characters to work with, and a lot of that was already implied. And as you come into your own as levels, I haven't forgotten your backstories and your backgrounds, and now they may come back to haunt, bite, burn, destroy you. Okay. The
Eldine's surely in the clear.
Oh, surely.
There are more immediate concerns than these high level things that we'll get to as we progress.
I also like when you guys get it right, as far as the actual planes we're talking about, and I like it when you get it wrong, because I'm not going to correct you, because I want you to get it wrong in front of one of them. I want you to call an Archduke of Hell a demon. I want to see that. That's going to be fun.
I mean, tell her to do that shit on purpose.
I know.
It's true.
Fast mouth.
Yeah.
We some petty bitches when it comes to it, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You'll get the saving throw at advantage, but the intimidates at disadvantage. So is any diplomacy you might throw this way, in the form of persuasion and deception. I know there's not a diplomacy skill. I'm not confusing our games. Not tonight, anyway. Like, I'm on board with this. So go ahead and, I can't even say pick your victim. Pick your co-conspirator.
Let's go, Miss Eldine.
Hello. I am Sandy. I'll be portraying Auntie Eldine, Hexblade, Warlock, Goblin, Anarchist, Menace, who is more than a little miffed that Teller did some tutting about lining my pockets with these gold bars. But it makes a good point. Damn it. Fair enough. Fight another day. The greater goal, sure. This turn of events, there's a few here, right? The ongoing slow turn of Eldine session after session being exposed to a little bit more information and darkness surrounding her patron and from whence this power comes. But more importantly, Mercala had been double-crossed, and that's problematic. Eldine doesn't trust easy. She don't trust most folks. But she's here to back what Mercala has, and it's problematic that there's been a double cross there. So she's ready to be supportive. She'll let go of the gold bars and let go of the what she sees as the higher good right now to support her comrade in arms. And from there, yeah, Mercala, what you got?
I'm Nick, or Unichronic, and I'm playing Mercala Bloodfang, Margravine of the Wyvern Isles, our resident Drake Warden Ranger. And Mercala has a lot to think about right now. She left her homeland, Bizor, more specifically the Wyvern Isles, the part that she actually ancestrally rules over, to bring a new age of glory back to her people. And she's going to do this by starting this mercenary company and get, Bazoran name and all of that out there. But she's just discovered that her lieutenant may have betrayed her, that the Wyvern Isles could be in danger, and lastly, that her whole damn bloodline has an abyssal taint.
We're just gonna sit on that one.
Ain't that the truth?
I'm sitting on it.
That is the nature of a taint. You do tend to sit right on it.
It was the pause, an abyssal.
Taint the Wyvern and it taint the Isles.
Taint the Wyvern and it taint the Isles. Oh, it's also known as the Dragonback Mountains, which I think is really appropriate here.
Dragon Bareback Mountains, yeah.
So
We're filthy.
So
We're not for kids. We're
yeah.
not Wu-Tang.
Yeah, just in case you
Mercala
didn't
has
get the
a lot
disclaimer
on her
up front.
mind. I think her first order of business is to ride out on dusk and meet the Bloodsong Knights as they approach Rockter and confront Lieutenant Larntorna Caius about this map that has her handwriting on it and battle plans to take over the Wyvern Isles. Found in a warlock's chest, of all places.
Not good.
Not good.
Present company warlocks excluded, of course.
Certainly.
There's no warlocks here.
Half of you.
None. Zero. There's none.
Well, we's the good kind.
Ah,
And I'm a totally
problematic at
normal
best.
bard.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it is too.
No
None-
subtype here at all.
None of you made a pact with the Puppy McRainbow's patron, okay? You've fallen in with fiends, hags, and possibly worse.
Hey, that's my
in a
grandmother.
desperate bid to save my people from a much worse fate.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which is exactly why we're not jacking this dude's treasure, Eldine.
Because you can't carry it
Imagine-
out. There's too much of
can't-
it.
Tell her
And
I
what-
don't hurt you. I'm leaving
and
it
what-
be. You're not wrong. I just
What
don't like it.
matters more is that the goblins get power, not that they get money.
Yeah, but these rich
I think he's
bitches
right.
ain't need this money anyway. That ain't the point. It ain't about me and mine. It's about them and theirs.
There.
He's got a point though. I never thought of hiding it in plain sight like that.
Just because it's
We're
not
still
ours
hiding
doesn't
it.
mean we
We're
can't
still hiding
spend
it
it.
away.
Leave it in the vault.
I said I'd go with it. I'm agreeing. I don't like it, but I'm agreeing.
You did come out of there with a substantial cache of magic items, as I recall.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
checking your inventory tab, I'm rewarded as a GM to see that it is blank. I run a few of these games in Fantasy Grounds, and I give out treasure, and sometimes it just sits there on an imaginary donkey, the quantum donkey, Tim, exists in all worlds and has endless encumbrance.
That's pretty specifically because Teller just took it all.
Well, but then we divvied it up.
No,
We
no.
did
we
it.
did.
Asmo
But there's
has
stuff-
trained us
No,
over these years.
clearly to take it out.
It was like, hey.
But a lot of this stuff he's just hanging on to until the time is appropriate to actually give it to somebody.
Yeah, and it is substantial.
Teller is our donkey, but he is not quantum.
He is the cloven hoofed one.
Just because I look like a satyr doesn't mean you can make livestock jokes, okay?
Betty, you know I ain't mean by it.
Oh, I know.
So as you're walking behind Teller on the cobblestone streets of Rockter, actually, no, I don't think they have too much cobblestone here. I'm going to say the guttered streets. They have an efficient drainage system because of the locks and the fact that they also use the locks to deal with their waste.
Effluence.
Perfect. And you can reverse the flow and deal with their affluence.
Eldine's here for that.
As you're following behind, you almost fall into the same walking rhythm as Teller. And Teller will tap, tap, trot, 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 and then canter, canter, canter over to dance and spin some bullshit on a street corner. And then, he's
Gamble.
Yeah.
That ADHD kid, he's just zigging and zagging, but he comes back.
And as your own
Miss
steps,
Johnson, looking good.
and as you fall into step, your own footfalls seem to have a hoof-like resonance on the city streets, here and there, enough to remind you that you're not walking alone. And where do you go after helping out your noble friend Umlaren, council member? You spoke afterwards. There was a brief exchange. The mayor was there with a very small entourage, just two halberdiers, and the mayor left, leaving you with Omlarin. I believe there was a parting at that point, or where are you going?
There,
He said he had somewhere else to stay and was getting the hell out, right? Because
Yeah,
he was kind of
yeah.
freaked out by the whole thing.
Little
there,
bit.
there was actually our long rest right at that point.
Yep, that sounds about
There
right.
was
Omlarin's?
yes, correct. There was the folks showed up. I don't remember what sect they were with. The something of the sun. They were another sect. They helped us with some healing and just patched us up before Ramlin leaves though. We have some bonds to make fast with him. Like Ramlin is his sister. So just for our audience, Ramlin's sister was the warlock who was the key to, well, more the pick to popping the lock of Rokter.
And the Stygian invasion.
She was the pathway through which Rokter froze over. New Stygia was on its way to being born. She's the reason that demon was down there guarding all of her stuff. Like it was going badly. That's not a good look for a Ramlin. We know for a fact that a portion of the city council members are already suspicious of him, or even if they're not suspicious, they are nervous to be seen around him because he's got the taint, so to speak.
And as you learned, he's from a family of wizards where the wizardry has aged out, fallen off, and the current generation do not display the talent for wizardry, so some of them have turned to other means of gaining power.
Warlockery.
Warlockery. It was also.
But we also found out that he has a good chunk of money where he could help literally
Family
rebuild
fortune.
Rokter.
Correct.
And make himself look like a fucking hero.
What we
become the
suggest he
patron of
do.
these folks
Yeah,
that desperately need it.
Not only to make amends, but to secure his currently unstable position, because he could very easily be moved in on by other powers of Rokter.
And he seems to be amenable to that suggestion. I believe that there was something else revealed in that. He said that each city that is having this debt collected by Hell requires a warlock in place to do so. And it was strongly implied that Eldine might be one of these warlocks. But we don't know yet. Ain't that right, Kitty? And
we should get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, there seems to be some of that.
Yeah, agreed.
In character and in narrative, there was also some other intelligence gathered in the form of a spied upon letter writing with another council member who appeared to be writing to your old nemesis, your original nemesis, the alchemist, who you know is also just one of the guises that Malagar the Lich wears.
Malagar the dirty liar.
Yeah, well, you know.
Well, yeah.
Chaotic evil means never having to say you're sorry.
Lich is gonna do this shit.
Yeah, exactly. When Malagar, who we do know to be a player on the level with these devils and demons and sovereigns of these nations.
Maybe not on the level, but pulling power from.
With his own planar powers.
He is playing in the same game as those players.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Maybe he's just been playing it for as long.
A separate game, but just as longly laid.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the only one trying to play it from this side. Longly.
Vapors. Free inspiration.
They do come on.
So, you've had your long rest. It is early morning, and people are actually brushing slushy water into the gutter as all of the Stygian ice has melted. It's like the first warm day in a Great Lakes city. And all except up there, by that point of the season, all the snow is black and all the ice is just chunks of crystallized asphalt is what it looks like.
Since you no longer live in a place with black snow in spring, you just love talking about black snow in spring.
I never thought I'd miss it, you know, but it's very salty. Don't eat it. So lessons learned. But they're sluicing this back into the canal system, and the canals are operating at like partial open on the sluice gates to basically let everything go, to drain the city out. So the engineers of the city seem to have well in hand what was a concern. What do you do with the morning? You could grab a bite. You don't really know the city, but you could stick around.
We have business to attend to.
Yeah, Mercala's getting suited up in an official capacity and getting up on dusk, and she's about to ride out and meet the Bloodsong Knights.
Okay.
The rest of us should come with her.
Yeah, and in which case she will let them know that that's what she's doing, and
About how far back?
probably before they went to bed, even.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Ildine at this point, since she's been talked out of raiding the coffers, is mostly just here to be support for Mercala, because she's pissed about the double cross. She's not actually concerned about like the kingdom of the Wyvern Isles, but she's pissed about the double cross.
No, that's understandable. So you ride out. Still early morning. The sun is up. The city is attempting to put a normal beat to a new song. You know, they're taking care of the ice, but shops are open, the markets are open. You hear vendors calling out as you leave the city behind. The gates are open, they're not closed up at this time of day. A lot of boat traffic is still queued up because they're basically allowing the water to go the other way. They're not stepping people up the cataract. And so there's still a good deal of delay, but it's almost like a secondary city has now formed in the river that leads up to Rockter, and people have pushed barges together. Quite symbolically, you see a few traders are arranging planks connecting their boats and juggling fruit that they were coming to town to sell back and forth with one another. A number of halflings are making a show of it. There are people cooking breakfast, many vibrant smells from a crossroads of the kingdom being inconvenienced. People are making the best of a bad situation, which does seem to be a trait of all Calarians, including y'all. And you ride south out from the city for a good 20 minutes away from the barge jam. That's what they're going to call the music festival that takes place here the following
I was
year.
just about to say, this whole time Teller is still singing the songs that he's composed about the rewarming of Rockter and the joys of a hot cup of coffee and all the things.
Nice. And you see a column of cavalry riding towards the city. The local guards see you, and as you pass by some of them at the perimeter, they say, "Friends of yours?" You recognize the banners.
Used to be.
Now you're just a mercenary company that I used to know. Go get your Godier.
Yeah.
So as you ride out, how far back does the rest of the party drop as Mirkala rides out on dusk?
Probably would have discussed Empty's role in this before, because I'm either in disguise or I'm
Sneaky dad.
not with the party.
Right.
I feel like there
Or
would be
I'm
a
in
discussion
disguise and then
before.
at some point I won't be with the party.
Yeah, you'll just be
They'll be
conspicuous.
in
Go
the-
anywhere without.
I like that. I like that.
I think what we had discussed a little bit was that Empty Pockets and Eldine will hold back as in case things go violent with Larntora, in which case we shut her down as fast as possible. Murder is the order of operations on that point.
You already know her loadout. She typically fights with either a heavy crossbow at range, which she will dismount and carries 60 bolts on her steed. It is an Othlandian stallion, so a destrier, if you will, a
Proper war horse.
proper war horse, and she is proficient in lance, but with her her lance is ornamental because it also bears the banner and mostly stays attached to the saddle. Her main melee weapon is a two-handed flamberge sword.
Which is probably what she'll be doing because Mirkala will be right in her face if it even comes to this. Teller's going to hang back and cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay. You're near
And we're going to see what we can see.
You're near a place where the river is in sight of the road to Rockter. And the column halts at a hand command from Larntora, and she rides up. And she's halfway to closing the distance when she can tell by your posture that something is off, that something is different. And she pulls the horse up, whose name is Pinion, and she claps Pinion on the neck as she dismounts and walks out to greet you, a full 20 feet from her horse, her heavy crossbow, her lance, and her claymore, her flamberge. So she's unarmed except for the hand axe and dagger she has at her hip. And she looks to greet you, standing there non-threateningly, but can tell by your posture that it's probably better she adopt a let me greet you on foot stance. That, and when you're riding on Dusk, it's a little bit more snaky shaky at this point. He's not big enough to be a steed in flight for you. So she waits to greet you, takes her helmet off as you approach, and puts it on her hip in a greeting of respect. The way you've seen her do a dozen times.
Makala regards Larentorno with a glance of her crimson eyes, and then looks up at the column behind her.
It has now swelled
them
to 1,100.
1,100. She calls out to them with thaumaturgy. Hail, Bloodsong Knights.
They all, in response, perfectly timed, Hail, Mirkala, Bloodfang, Margravine of the Wyvern Isles, we serve. And they all nod.
Rockter needs our help, now more than ever. There's been a Stygian invasion, and while the fiends have been banished, the city is in ruin.
A lot of the guards were taken out by that initial blast of cold, and they were some of the dead that were unrecoverable.
We, the Bloodsong Knights, will take up arms for Rockter as a show of respect for Caleria. And that she does all that with thaumaturgy, so they all can hear. Then she dismounts Dusk and approaches Lauren Tornakaias on foot, speaking at a normal volume.
You are reminded of that time you met on the field of battle at the tournament in honor of the prince visiting in Riverport.
While Mirkala is addressing the troops, Teller has a close, quiet, bowed head conversation with the logistical wing of the Bloodsong Knights, the Underwolf Goblin folks that we recruited to run supply chain, because they're going to be big on them. This is an aid operation.
And it seems like some of them are light crossbow, short bow detachments riding on the back of war horses in secondary saddles to provide cover fire support for their knight. It seems to be a good arrangement. Some of them also have these scoops made out of moose bone that you've seen before. They're pretty substantial clubs, but they're also curved in such a way to allow the hurling of canisters. I'm not saying the grenade was invented in Riverport, probably invented in Teldestrano, but the game of hurling them was perfected in Riverport by the Underwolf Goblins. They don't like playing under open air because they can't bounce them off the ceiling of the wharf. Milady, what will be
Love it.
your role in this? Are you staying here in the city? Are we to bivouac together?
We found some things out. Some deep laid plans and evil plots. And we must make haste to the capital of Caleria.
Will I accompany you? Or shall I stay here with the cohort? I believe more properly classified as a regiment at this point.
I must say, and she looks back at the swelling ranks of the Bloodsong Knights. I'm quite impressed with your work. Please do rise.
Cannot take all of the credit. Your sister has arrived in Riverport and sends word. And she hands you a bone scroll with a black wax seal.
Larmika has come to Riverport?
She said grandmother willed it.
Her hand goes up to the vial, which is actually hidden underneath her surcoat. I'll be straight and direct with you, Larntorna. And in this case, because she's not a schemer and she's not a power player, Merkala just lays it out. She pulls out the map.
That's the way. That's the way. Teller has detect thoughts running.
What was the name of that warlock? I forgot her name. Riz?
Remlin's sister?
Yeah.
No, Riz was the other one. I forget Remlin's sister's name. I don't have it in my notes, I don't think.
We'll look it up. It's in my notes, but it's not top of
We
brain.
found this in the cache of a warlock who brought the Stygian invasion to Rockter.
Oh,
And I can't help but notice it has your handwriting on it.
yes.
A map of the Wyvern Isles.
Yes, that is. I was asked for a consultation.
From whom?
Family. I mentioned that I'd met your sister in some of my work after leaving the Border Kingdoms. I believe they call it Red Devil when you pretend to be an opposing force to find any gaps in defenses. Yes, that is my hand. I'll admit naval tactics are not my strong suit. I was merely there in a consulting role, but, well, the pirate
And Larmika
captain,
asked for this?
some time ago, a few years. The pirate captain that was there, catfolk, Tabaxi, was without the use of his right hand. My handwriting was better.
What's happening in her mind?
Lady, this was done in defense of your homeland. I thought it was understood where my loyalties were.
How could it end up in the hands of a scheming warlock?
Afraid I don't have an answer for that either one of us would find fitting.
You've given me no reason to distrust you thus far. And with that, Merkala actually pats her on the back.
There's some light cheering from the battalion regiment. Like the tension was visible to mercenaries. Warriors can tell when There's about to be somebody else signing their checks, you know?
Can I attempt insight
Yeah,
as well,
absolutely.
though?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll send that to you.
Don't skip over Teller's detect thoughts either.
I'm not going to skip over Teller's detect thoughts.
I think he's pointedly not talking about it until the tension is
conversation.
ripe enough. Yeah.
Mm,
So we're just gonna leave that be.
mm, mm, mm.
Oh, perfect. There you go. Hey, folks at home, you'll be able to see the roll. The players won't.
And I'm using my inspiration to have advantage.
That too. Okay. She appears to be telling the truth. She did mention having been to the Wyvern Isles, and the framework is there for this to all be true and be an easy to explain misunderstanding, but there is a missing piece of the puzzle. If your sister was involved in this council, it was probably more of a military function, and she was just brought in as a member of the family who had some social grace and took good notes. You can picture this happening, and this was around, if the time frames fit, this was around the time that you were having your own nautical adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Something's off about it. How did this end up 60 miles inland in a city that doesn't have any connection to the Wyvern Isles, really?
Yeah.
I mean, the connections between Bizor and Riverport were tentative. Your homeland is a borderland between the two. They haven't been at overt war, but Caleria certainly didn't come to the aid during the Elder War. Something's missing.
Well, it seems if she's come all the way to Riverport, I will be able to ask Larmika herself eventually. I guess I could send word that I'm heading towards the capital.
She might already know
at the
that,
very least.
though.
She might already know that. So,
That was the plan when we left Riverport. That was our final destination.
The mood amongst the soldiers that you are surface grabbing, surface feeling out, Teller, is they're kind of spoiling for a fight. They were disappointed that no force was sent to stop them by any devils. They heard some rumors. People were evacuating the city. Boats were turning around going, okay, I guess we go by sea. There was a lot of word was getting out of Rockter about the situation in Rockter. The thing is the band is probably way too large for any forces to really stand against. What, are bandits going to jump over 1,000 troops? No, it's a small army. You could threaten a lot of cities. Rockter could handle you, but it's a lot better that they're there to fight, and they feel like, oh, we're going to be manning shovels and winches and hammers and chisels, and they can tell that it's going to be that kind of gig, so their morale is not
they're
diminished,
restless.
but they're a little restless.
We need some games.
We
need some Rockter Bloodsong Nights intramural games.
Some gladiatorial. Yes, get that blood flowing.
Got several chests of gold we could get our hands on. Well, let's host a rebuild Rockter tournament.
City could use a festival. Yeah,
that's worth pitching. Absolutely.
A fundraising festival.
Way. Yeah.
Sponsored by our new friend, but the other wealthy patrons could certainly kick in on such a festival.
Yeah, see, I knew Eldine would get on board like that as soon as she got it.
And they will celebrate this fearful moment and turn it into a thing of whimsy. And there will be tournaments and songs and lots of bands.
Unity.
And they will call it Barge Jam.
Thank you.
Yep, perfect.
Thank you.
And they will sell tabards that they hastily use prestidigitation to screen print that say barge jam 694 be there. They're already gonna they're gonna have merch. It's
Where
gonna be
were
awesome.
you? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I can imagine the band names, but we don't want to get into all
Mhm.
that.
I can see the art of like all the
Freeze
barges in the
frame.
river done in that particular,
Yeah.
early 70s style.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know the
With
font. Okay,
icebergs
got it. Got
floating
it.
among them.
There will be a smiling goblin with a big foamy beer right on their forehead.
Fuck yeah.
So yeah, okay. So they're spoiling for a fight. We can help with that a little bit. What else is going?
Um. Yeah, they're pretty straightforward. This seems to be a good gig. They were paid up front. The paymaster is not thought of as cheap. They are well supplied. They have wagons that are about 20 minutes behind because they rode out ahead just in case it was a serious situation. But they're well supplied, motivated, morale is good, but they are a little spoiling for a fight, and that can be funneled into better energies. Rockter's not the best city for shore leave because it's not on the shore. It's not Fleet Week in Rockter, but well, they're in a good place
I mean,
for
they're
where they're
recovering
at.
from a disaster, not a natural disaster, but a disaster. So
Yes.
yeah, not a great party town right this minute.
And Eldine, you feel that you're far from the city, and you feel that feeling of being in the wilderness, and you do seem to be more of a city creature, don't you?
That does seem to be.
I mean, you imagine if the sun were to go down, the stars would be very visible out this far from the city. At the same time, you'd rather have a lantern and a book and
Four walls.
your bifocals and your knitting and a little brandy in your tea.
Just a bit. Just to relax.
You hear a voice over your left shoulder. Cities are a wonderful thing, aren't they? Do you want one for your own?
I don't know about all that.
Razor is what I called you. And you glance, but you just see a shadow. There's a tang in the air. More iron. Fire, iron. More iron than sulfur. Forge. The culling has begun.
Yes, sir. Seems like a lot of folks been cold.
Sir,
Don't know I agree with it.
good. I'm glad to hear you still know your place.
Well, damn it, I ain't like it, but
Damn it, it just gets better. Go on.
well, damn if I ain't like it, but saved my ass in a scrape or five and helped my people. So I suppose I'm indebted. Like it or not, I know where I stand.
I'm glad we had this chance to dialogue. And they're gone.
Do I just see Eldine talking to herself?
That's your next. So, I'm going to take some liberties here. Let me know if I'm off base. So,
I think you should just tell some stories for a minute here. You go for it.
Agreed. If
empty.
you tell me what Eldine just saw.
Empty. Oh, Eldine, you look down at where whoever was speaking must have been standing, and there are 3 marks in the ground. A pair of very sharp, pointed hooves, exaggerated, like when you've seen a goat's hooves overgrow and curl. And they're quite large. And a third mark next to them that appears to be from a cane. Empty, you knew the best place to strike unseen would be from the undergrowth of the river. That's a lesson you learned just a few days ago, that there's a lot of good hiding spots nestled at where the river meets the land. And rising up from the river, having been painted with mud and stuck through with twigs and leaves, easily mistaken for a bush. Rising up, you have a perfect view of the battlefield. From here, with your bow, you could put 2 arrows in Larentora Caius before she could run back for her sword. If it came to that. But the conversation with Mircalla, although tense at first, seems to give over to a warm embrace, or at least some displayed camaraderie for the good of the cohort. Likewise, Teller moves up and head bowed. You can tell there's some interplay, probably some of that old bardic magic, or maybe just some raw telepathy. But you watch this carefully for anybody moving to draw weapons to move into position, but the troops seem loyal, if a little edgy. And then you see the rent in the world as a black tear belches forth 9 feet of Duke of Hell. Dapper, a coat with tails, black goat legs, a cane of gray metal, and a top hat standing just behind Eldine. And then they are gone. Like a foul smoke on the wind. From this distance, I'm pretty sure you could have put 1 arrow in this devil. But you're not sure it would have done anything. Nobody else laid eyes. Something about you being in the place between the water and the land, as the sun, although up, finally crests over the hills, over the southern Crone Mountains, begins to bathe Rockter in sunlight. You're in that place between worlds again. That gives you access to them. I'm going to have you make a religion check.
I was gonna ask for it, but you didn't make me.
There you go. You know what devil that is. You know the name of that devil. Give you inspiration if you say it out loud.
I know who it is, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. I'm going to give it to you anyway, because I'm going to write it in the chat.
I can figure it out in 2 seconds. And I'll have to say it as. Oh, I have to go to the chat.
You can't say it wrong, because there's 2 ways to pronounce it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but you know the name, and the thing is it's in your forebrain, but you know better than to say it right now.
Right.
With the door between the plains so perforated, the rampart
Right.
is perforated.
But as we see, like, Empty there with his white hair, like, blackened by mud and twigs hanging out, head cocking to the side, you can see, like, the fog from the river enveloping half his body and moving behind him. And his lips don't move, but we hear, "Hello, Miss Vader, old friend.
So what do you do with the rest of the morning?
Well, I've been waiting on it. Yeah, no doubt. Get organized and organize a party.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, detect thoughts is a specific creature,
Yeah,
and Teller was focused on Larntoro.
Okay. Well, we played fast and loose with that.
That's fine.
Larntoro.
I think it's excellent flavor. So
Yeah. I didn't know what spell you were going with, so I was like, it's something mental. Plus I couldn't remember if you took the telepathic feat or not. Gotcha.
now that was our unfortunately absent wizard.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Larntoro was.
Scheme double crossing Wizard Alien's pretty sure.
It's easy to become suspicious of people when they're not here.
And Eldine
especially
tends
in
towards
light.
suspicion. He's a new one. We don't know what he's up to. He disappeared real convenient when that portal opened up.
People disappointing you is an easy sell. I get it. It's a default setting.
Well, you never trusted that little boogman anyway.
The two of you are such a hilarious peanut gallery. Oh, we're rich now. It's like, that's not our money. It's like, what are you talking about? It's right there. Let's come take it. It's like, no.
Eldine didn't want it for her. She wanted it for the workers.
It was like 200
These
grand.
rich bastards don't need it. Eldine was going to disperse that.
And empty was just like,
redistribute.
I got plenty of room in these pockets.
I never trusted him with his shifty eyes.
Well, it was enough. It was enough coinage
with his wee beady eyes
to have to look up the encumbrance rules. You don't want that.
It's true.
And you know where it is. And you kind of want
for when it comes time to redistribute that well.
And you're already looking at that house as a possible first house. It's the basement needs a little work, maybe an exorcist, but it's a nice place. It's got potential. It's in a good neighborhood. They just opened a gastropub. Things are looking up. All right.
Hilarious.
If Eldine has her say, it's going to be a community hostel, and it's going to go sideways fast.
Yeah, that's not what we're looking for here. This is like the base of operations.
As soon as you're out of town,
high level shit.
Yeah, as soon as you're out of town, an artificer's going to take over, and it'll be, shall we play a game?
Or an alchemist.
Oh,
no.
Yeah. The alchemists be popping up all over like weeds.
Mercala's gonna get back on Dusk. She's gonna, share traditional greetings. She's gonna let Larntona know that yes, she does need Larntona to stay heading the knights in this relief mission to Roctor. But then she's gonna get back on Dusk, and she's gonna ride down the column and greet. And this is gonna take probably a chunk of the morning, but she's gonna greet each one of them.
And
Smart.
there are four lieutenants, which would actually mean that Larntora's probably should be a captain.
A captain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there's several lieutenants and dozens of sergeants, and we're gonna leave it at that. We're not gonna detail
I'm
what
not
the pay
gonna
grade
learn
is
all 101,000 names, but Mercala actually might be a kind of leader who would try. So.
Private Gribbly Fisticuffs is the goblin monk who stands on the back of a horse barefoot and bows to you in a pugilist greeting. I like to think that from this cohort, any number of adventuring parties could be spun off if we need them.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Just
for real.
First level party. There you go. We don't all have the soldier background. Some of us were criminals. I mean, some people, I tell you.
Classic Bloodsong Night.
So it's a good mix of talent at this point in its growth.
And then when I ride back around, having met the 4 lieutenants, that's when she will call out and officially name Larntorna captain. There's
great cheering and jubilation. All right.
Does Teller also believe Larntorna to be telling the truth?
She did have a couple of thoughts that you'll probably want to make Mercala aware of, but they weren't against Mircalla, it was more along the lines of, could her sister be plotting against her for the throne?
Mm,
Like she's
she was
suddenly
trying to
starting.
figure it out too.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the fact that she's trying to figure it out, I think, proves her loyalty more than her shielding her thoughts or
Hmm.
just being mad that she would be thought of as betrayed. Because
Well,
one of the
she's
things you like
realizing
about her
she
is
might be a patsy for the sister.
yeah, and she's pragmatic,
Mhm.
which is the best alignment to have.
And I purposely put Lauren Torna in a position where she would have more exposure to letter writing to my sister than even I do when I'm traveling. So,
And if she's now in charge of the operation here in Rockter, it's yet another chance for her to prove herself. So she'll be successful if she's being honest, or
mhm.
her deception will reveal itself in this new role. Okay. So ride back with them to town.
Solid.
They immediately set to work getting open some of the winches that were damaged and popped out of place by the rapid expansion of water that the freezing caused. You've got it's midday by the time you ride back, but you've got the cities at your disposal, so to speak. You have gear. You don't have so much of a timetable, but you do have a mission that takes you out of the city. I just wanted to give you a chance to talk to anybody else that you met while you were here before you go.
We need a couple of days. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to stay here for another day or two, that might be a goodwill gesture. So it puts you in a better. They'll remember you more fondly is the best way to say it, because there was some suspicion amongst the council the night before when they were meeting that maybe this trouble was brought to Rockter's gates by this
How
party.
convenient.
Yeah.
This hero showed up just in time. Yeah, no doubt.
But now they're
No,
here
I
with
think-
1,100 troops that are the context
I
is changing.
think organizing a tourney and doing recovery efforts, as well as I'm suddenly realizing getting back in touch with let's see here, Go Gadget Notes, Morgraine Turtledove and Williker von Willick,
Yes.
our friends who were not frozen when we first arrived in Rockter, and organizing what is on the surface a CERT, a community emergency response team, because they were already prepared for that.
Uh-huh.
Getting them properly prepared.
I think
if
that's where
anything needs
Eldine
to
is
go
going to want to
down.
be.
I agree. And also setting them up as a non-official source of information about what's happening.
Getting to their neighborhood, you immediately hear that people are recommending that Morgraine run for ombudsman because of the leadership she's displayed. She liberated a whole lot of unattended herbs that are good at treating the chilblains and frostbite that some of the citizens were suffering from, and appears to be walking the walk and helping. Williker, I mean, the two of them are basically a Brady Bunch of found family. Williker was a widower, and Morgraine, her kids were grown, so the two of them, she fell in love with his cooking. She can reach things on the top shelf. It's a really good relationship. So they get your support. Who else do we want to meet or meet with?
We do need to acquire a couple of low-grade magical weapons. Our friend Empty Pockets should not be empty sheathed when having to deal with melee combat. He had mentioned a magical weapon. That is appropriate.
Mm-hmm. And Empty is also just emphasizing the fact that another thing that we should do if we're organizing a tourney is get as many local businesses involved. So like whatever shopkeepers and business people in town still exist, can make some money off of these drunk soldiers that we brought.
Yep, yep. And actually, we should give the soldiers
because we have a bunch.
Of
we have
money.
we have an endless stream of probably drunk sailors like in the
Mhm.
Riverlands, waiting
Well,
to
and
get
imagine
through,
Not
too,
the
drunk
right?
yet, but we would like for the local
get them drunk.
taverns to assist with that
hmm And the
and line their
townspeople are,
pockets as well.
In need of some
everybody's
cheer
got
as
some
well.
steam to blow off, so to speak.
And Teller needs a magic bow.
I have replaced
Yeah.
Empty's rapier with a +1 rapier.
No, that was easy.
I just went in and scripted the +1 while y'all were talking, but
Right.
I was listening. And before we get off that scene, Williker comes up and goes, "Oh, I sure appreciate your help before, and know that you're welcome in our home anytime you're here. It's not as fancy as some of the digs you might enjoy, but won't leave the table hungry."
I knew that from the moment I wet you, Willie.
Oh, look at me from the side. Do I look hungry? No, I don't.
Never trust a skinny cook, eh?
I used to have me personally, I used to have a painting in my kitchen that said never trust a skinny chef. And it was a picture.
That's why I'm quoting it,
Yep.
Tommy.
Okay, thank you. And the circle is now complete. Awesome.
Deep cuts.
Deep cuts. The tourney will take a couple of days to arrange, but I think that's go ahead.
We also give preference to the city guard who wants to participate in the tourney. We need to help them save face and reconnect, right? Show off. We need that. They need that. And we're going to ask the Bloodsong Knights not to participate, I think. Maybe certain, but we should limit. That's what it is. We should limit the number of Bloodsong Knights
I
who
thought we
enter
were
the
trying to let
tourney.
them burn off some bloodlust.
Oh, that's right.
That's the whole
Yeah,
point of the
okay, let
tourney.
them at it. Let them at it. Never mind. I take it back.
Yeah.
Let them at it.
Yeah, it's kind of
That was the idea.
impetus for the whole
We'll
thing.
make sure
yeah.
they all have blunted weapons. And
Oh, yeah,
such.
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we're not gonna let them
Oh
kill
yeah,
each other.
it's
No
not
doubt.
a,
No doubt. I was just thinking about stealing but whatever. Yeah, we want to also build our brain. So go for it. Okay.
I couldn't help but notice that your short bow is a manifestation of your hexblade powers there, Teller.
Is it now?
It's got charisma driving its stats, doesn't it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It does. It's not magical, though. That's just from Hexblade bullshit.
Okay. Well,
it is not a magical weapon.
Your moon-touched
rapier is definitely.
It does count as a magical weapon and does give off light. It doesn't get a plus, but you have a magical melee weapon. Were you looking for magical ammo? Because
magical range, some kind of magical ranged weapon is what I was looking for. Diversity. You got to diversify your bond.
Nice. Also nice. I think a +1, a quiver of +1 arrows is probably what you
that sounds perfect.
Are needing here.
That's what I'm craving.
So we're gonna go ahead and give you that. Let me see if I can just drop it on you. There, did you get that?
I got a pop-up window. Let's see here.
No.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Solid.
You just did. Yeah, so you can just add those as a separate line. Just keep track of them. The reason being is when you use your Hexblade powers to manifest the weapon and drive it with your charisma, if it's a bow, it's actually better if it's +1 because then the arrows are also magical and you still get to add your charisma modifier. You can't do it with a magical bow and add your charisma. Does that make sense?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, Bard Warlock is
Hexblade bullshit.
Yeah, Hexblade bullshit. But Bard Warlock is a good combo for Warlock.
Okay, solid. Is there anyone else that we need to talk to? I don't.
Maybe see the mayor on your way out.
The mayor, yeah.
Got to talk to the mayor. We got to send some messages too down south, back to report.
Oh yeah.
But we can do that.
And it's not that far. It's a couple days. I'm not saying you can trust everything, but you can reliably send a message to people in Riverport from here and not worry about getting waylaid. And you have access, if you really want to, you could use a message spell and send that way too.
Which I do.
Or an animal messenger spell, if you want to.
Or no,
do
not
that as well.
message. What do I have? Sending.
Is sending the one that requires you to see people, or is that message?
You send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. The creature hears
Better.
the message in its mind, recognizes as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a like manner immediately.
That is fantastic. Perfect.
Yeah. Although we will need to send an actual courier to Radu with probably a copy of these plans and a note from Mirkala
Too bad
describing
our
what is
scribe's
going on.
gone. Jeez.
God, yeah, if only we had somebody with a magic quill.
I love how thick we're laying. Like every one of us has done this now. That's great.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah, but other than that, I can't think of any other Rockter business. I
Okay.
think we've set this up pretty well, unless anybody's got some ideas, plans. Oh, this is also a big recruiting effort for the Bloodsong Knights, FYI, in Rockter.
it will be
Is there
anyway. Like it will be just because, like even if it wasn't official, it will be.
Hmm.
Is there what?
this is the question for the party. I'm wondering if there's any. Do we think that there's like useful information to be gained from this party, from like these drunken soldiers? There's not any particular
Our
thing
own
that we're
people?
looking for.
I think
The
Well, our
Bloodsong
own people,
Knights?
the townspeople, like
I mean,
not so much,
there are
'cause
clearly schemes happening here. We had our handy
I
little
don't think they
cutscene
are
of the
going to
guy
know anything
who's.
about them.
Yeah, I think what we need to do is set up a network of friendlies and keep tabs. And if anything comes up, we ask for them to tell us.
Yeah, I was considering moving through the crowd as somebody else and trying to, but I think my time could be used better somewhere else.
I'm
I
looking
think we
forward.
need to move on.
I'm
is
looking
what we need
forward
to
to
do.
your
Yeah,
your
I'm looking forward to-
conversation with Eldine.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
you saw something that Eldine didn't see.
but that's not going to happen during this whole tourney thing.
Right.
No.
I'm going to sit on it.
Uh,
So
Eldine is absolutely leveraging whatever rustic hospitality, which she has. As she's volunteering, right? We decided to stay on an extra day. She's spending time with the impromptu city response team, whatever. So yeah, if there is any scuttlebutt, she's definitely going to try to keep an ear out. But I don't think there's probably much to gain from most of these folks.
yeah,
Mercala spends. I mean, she as soon as she can, she finds a place alone where she can read the letter from her sister. But as far as spending the day, she will head hanging out with the Bloodsong Knights is number one, making sure they all know her and respect her, and whatever. Some of them haven't met her yet. That's important. Also setting up the tourney. I mean, I guess like all of that noble, etc. Probably getting messages. Well, I guess if it's about 2 days away. I was gonna say we could try to get people to travel to this thing, but we might not have enough time. So, but setting up the tourney and training and fighting with and getting to know her own mercenaries is what she's gonna spend the
Okay.
3 days doing.
All right.
yeah. And she's going to hang with Eldine, and he's got some healing. He's going to disguise himself as like an old witchy lady, stooped, like gray robes or whatever.
3 more gray
Yeah.
robed witchy women look over at you and go, "Are you Union?"
Curmudgeonly helping out, but not being
An
friendly with
injury to
anyone.
one is an injury to all. Yeah.
We have nothing to lose but our
That's
bandages.
I'm afraid I am not. I am from.
We'll fix that.
I am from elsewhere. Thank you.
They hand you a
What is this?
pamphlet.
Union, your speaker. I have not heard of it.
They brief you. They hand you a book,
Eldine smacks you.
The Politics of Rations. And And they're like, oh no, don't give them that.
Eh,
That's anarchist.
eh,
That's rabble rouser stuff. Give them something more syndicalist. Oh, syndicalist, yeah, absolutely. Syndicalist literature. Throw the leaflets. Revolution.
Excuse me, there are people here that need our help. I must be going.
Exactly. Awesome. Sorry, LD, what were you saying?
No, they're handing out pamphlets. That's all.
As we walk away, it's Foxhouse ladies.
So I've shared the map of Caleria with you here again. And as you leave, you have a few options. Now, the Vanya River is available to use with pole barges. You basically push off against the side. It's a largely flat river. The grasslands that it goes through are known as the Veldt. To the north of the Veldt is the Wolfwood. There is a village just a day's travel out of Rockter called Mira to the north. I'm just curious what your route to Sorsha is, because you can get there by going up the Vanya River to Bori, or you can get there by going down the road to Sorsha. Now, which is faster? The road is going to be a little bit faster and a lot more visible. The river is going to be more discreet but take longer. And the third option would be just cut through the Wolfwood, which will probably take longer, but is the most discreet of all.
It sounds so
Elise-
inviting, the Wolfwood.
The Wolfwood, yeah.
Really,
Eldine
though.
votes just head north through the cities and
Agreed.
and
Up along
Yeah,
the
I mean,
road.
discretion is, everybody knows we're going there. I feel like everybody knows it's where we're going anyway.
Yeah, they all already know.
If
Yep.
we take the road, I can take a small chunk of the Bloodsong Knights with me,
That
so that
was
we roll
my
up the
next question.
where we roll up the Sorsha, we look really cool.
Convenient.
Now remember, the prince didn't want to roll into the capital with too large a force because it could be seen as an aggressive act.
Mm.
No,
Yeah,
I think
but he's a
handful
monarch,
of good
or
folks.
not.
Yeah. We did also just come from a
I
planar
think-
rift to the abyss, so we might be a touch twitchy.
Just a little.
Well,
It'll
and-
do that.
And, you know, they could conveniently disappear right before we roll into Sorsha.
And it would give me a reason to
But
bring
I'm more worried.
Larentorna with me and keep a close eye on her just
Oh,
in case.
and yeah,
Mm.
either way, yeah,
Okay.
both give you like an opportunity to figure it out with her, or like keep her close in case there is something actually
Yeah.
happening.
I like it because I think some shit could go down in one of these many little towns along the way. If somebody is trying to like sabotage us on our way up there, it'd
Yeah.
be good to have a couple buddies.
Okay.
Yep. Ask Larentorna to pick a couple head of the best.
Yeah, she will.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Larentora and two
all right, I'm
second
not
level
gonna
fighters
stay-
coming up.
Fuck yeah.
none of these people know who Empty is, so I'm either gonna like stay in character this whole time or hide the whole time, which I won't be able to keep up.
I think that's
so,
awesome.
That's also staying
Um,
in character. Just I feel like
yeah, well, in another character. So we gotta decide on that one.
Okay. So we're heading north
How
on the road.
Yes.
The
Yes.
tournament is still underway when you leave. We're not going to do a whole tournament in the town. It's time to leave Rockter. And-
let them burn out their energy. Get all go run around the house.
While she was
5
working
times.
with the nights and the days leading up to the tourney and leaving, she really was trying to lighten things up because she didn't realize just quite how big the Bloodsong Knights has swelled to yet, and she knows that she spoke rather ominously to the mayor, and she really doesn't want this to feel like an occupation. This is not in any official Bazorian or Wyvern Isles capacity, etc., etc. So she was trying to lighten things up a bit.
One of your lieutenants is a stone folk, or a Goliath, as 5e calls them, and has a background in the circus.
Perfect.
So they might be the perfect face for the cohort while you're away.
Okay.
Um,
Perfect.
we'll come back to them. I'm not going to give them a name and invent
Yeah.
an NPC on the spot. Besides, my magic marker is just about dead. I need a new one. Because when you make them on the spot, make them on something physical. You type them in a document, you'll lose the document. The index card will remind you to put it on the proper document. I'm just saying. Pro tip. As you make your way north to Mira, there are some people regarding you, and a couple people run up to you on the second day when you're after your camp. Everything's uneventful. The second day, people run up to you and say, "Are you here because of the worm? Seems a great worm came up out of the lakelands and flew into the Wolfwood and is launching raids on people out of Folus."
Motherfucking Chlorosaurus.
Where some of us are cut off. There was some shepherds that they haven't come home. You know, dragons can't resist good mutton.
This fucking dragon.
Did you forget about the
This fucking
dragon?
dragon.
No, of
No.
course
No,
not.
we thought he was
No.
happy in his little corner, but
He's
no,
just
now
a
he's got to
punk.
come up here
Yeah,
in the
no, he
Wolfwood.
got chased
He's
out. He's like,
just a
I can't
punk.
expand
This
south.
is one of the reasons
Gotta
why I wanted to take the
expand north.
northern road
Like-
too, to take us away from the Lakelands, and the Lakelands came to us.
What do we think this dragon's game is here? Because like he's
I think he's just
Out
looking
of-
for a territory.
It's
out of
eating
his
small
league.
beans,
so
though,
does he
doesn't
not
it?
realize how out of his league he is?
Expansionist.
So let's
Have you met an expansionist power before?
Yeah,
No,
well,
he doesn't.
let's
Green dragons aren't the smartest.
let's go ahead and tell them that. Let's go ahead and draw the old understood range. That looked to be about the old. Maybe I should change my color to green. That looks to be about the old understood range.
Yeah.
And now
Although he
folks are
didn't mess
saying,
with Riverport really, but that was the region. Yeah.
now they're saying he's gone to here. Is this a power grab? Is this the same dragon? You know, as soon as they ask, are you heroes to deal with the worm? They said worm. They didn't say Drake. They didn't even say
It's
dragon.
not another one of his children.
Right.
This
No,
is how many old dragons are going to be here hanging out?
Just one that would come up from the Lakelands.
Right. Right. And why would it leave? Is this an expansion or did it get chased out? Did Malagar actually be like, no, you got to get out my neighborhood?
Do you think they're in cahoots?
Maybe they do like making deals. Both those
That's a-
fools like making deals.
I
That's
mean,
where
last
I'm
time we talked
headed with it.
last time we talked to the dragon, he was not a fan.
No, he wanted
But-
to clear him out.
But
And
what
more
if-
recently in this very episode, Tom gave us little sprinkles that Malagar himself might not be on the level of these other players. So
Well-
maybe if he makes another deal with a local baddie to cause some more trouble.
I'm not even sure if it's that he's not on the level of the other players, but he is the outlier.
Yes.
He's playing a different game. I mean, like the Lords of Hell are doing the Lord of Hell thing. Malagar's not doing
He's not
that.
doing that.
He's
Yeah, no.
he's trying to play them against each other or hit it from a different angle that we still don't understand. So Malagar having a green dragon on his team makes a lot of sense
Yeah.
if he can pull it off.
The dragon
And
did
Yeah.
put on a good show of wanting to root out and eliminate the fact that there was this necromantic blight within the dragon's domain. The family
Mhm.
crypt of Malagar is what you went in and immediately said, "Whoa, we're not high enough level for this place. Let's get the hell out."
I feel like I'm gonna die.
Everything comes red when I click on it. It was definitely a time to go. What is this then? Some of the shepherds, or some of the people of Mira, the family of the shepherds, as you get into town, they say it flew right over the camp, and appeared to be raining down its corruption on the woods nearby. No telling what its foul draconic magic will twist the fey folk into there.
Ooh. Tell us of the Wolfwood. Is it a safe place to travel?
For who? Before the dragon?
Or
Yeah, the cautious would be all right. keep your weapon close at hand. Some bandits brave the edge of the wolf wood, fools all. Some make sacrifices to the crones to allow safe passage. Network of interconnected trails that the Fae use to mislead you.
Is it a Fey stronghold?
The birthplace of the sorceress Caleria,
Mm,
where the hags
Ding,
what raised her
ding.
lived. Welcome to the Witch
It
Kingdom.
looks like we maybe need to go for the Wolfwood, huh?
Yeah, I
mhm.
think the story marker for advancing Teller's quest just appeared in the middle of the Wolfwood.
Yeah, okay.
It's just a big
It's a little
exclamation
star.
point. Yeah.
So Smiteworks keeps tinkering with this draw tool. The last iteration was a little clunky, but this one seems to be very, very smooth and easy to erase. I like that. Somebody banged out these chalkboard erasers for me before we started playing. So the party.
We
Nice.
could still send Larntorna and the Bloodsong Knights over road. I mean, I don't want to be bringing a whole thing of. Well, I don't know. Maybe they should come with
We
us.
should. I don't think we should be sending a whole force, but we could maybe take a contingent if we're heading cross country. If we're going to the Wolfwood, they don't
Well,
have to
Yeah.
accompany us
Well, I
the
guess it's
whole
not a
way.
huge deal if it's Larntorna and 2 level 2 fighters.
they could still
So,
they
well,
could stay on the
true.
road. They could stay on
We
the road. They
could
could stay
take-
with the people of Mira while you go scout the shepherd's camp just to
see what's going
get some
on.
intel
Yeah.
and
Look
see
for
if,
evidence.
see if
Confirm if it's
Yeah.
Chloroshoras or not.
Right.
Yeah.
And since you have sending now, we can send messages more readily and quickly. So that's, and you're familiar with Miss Caius, so
Yep. Yep. And no, that seems to be the way. Dang.
and it's not that far. You're
Huh.
not going into the Wolfwood. You're just going to be near it. You know,
It's like a day's ride.
You're
Yeah, but
You
there is
say
a
that
360 dancing exclamation mark over the Wolfwood because there's a quest there.
you just moved up onto the map and the whole thing went.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean,
Uh-huh.
come on. Now, the
Uh-huh.
dragon showed up, number one.
Mm.
Number two, birthplace of the founder of Caleria.
Mm.
where the hags who
Home
raised
of the
her.
fucking hags.
The one thing you
They,
can count
they
on.
don't like moving either. Those hags, they don't like moving.
So before we go there, I wanted to give Empty and Eldine a chance to talk about Dispater because Dispater is one of the Archdukes of Hell and has a city named Dis named after him, and it's said to be the Iron City, the city the city where Dispater sees all, and it's connected to every city that has iron in it. And we finally revealed the name after 30 episodes of your patron. So I feel pretty good about that.
Mhm.
I don't think Eldim would share outright. I feel like Empty has to start
Well,
the conversation.
Oh,
and
for sure. My question
Yeah.
is, like, I'm thinking for the first leg of this journey, Empty is just disguised as like a generic ranger or something, so he can has an excuse to run around and scout and stuff.
And smoke
and
weed
I
in
think,
the corner.
yeah,
He was gonna do that
Um,
anyway.
One of
We'll
those.
throw
And
one of the
it's not gonna
Bloodsong
happen-
Knight tabards on him, you know, and
Yeah.
he can be
He's new.
yeah. Well, I have a thing that I can just use too.
Okay.
But so yeah, no big deal. Don't have to worry about that. But so I don't think he's gonna do that in character. He's gonna do that like at camp in the evening, or maybe when we break off.
Yeah, there's some
head
quiet night at
towards-
camp that there's an opportunity
Mhm.
if
Yeah,
if
where he
Empty's
can be himself, for a
curious,
minute,
like,
even if he
who-
doesn't look right.
I mean,
So,
Eldine
yeah.
isn't necessarily right in the middle of the camp group around the fire either.
Well,
so
yeah, I
there's-
know. And the Teller is cooking, and Mercala is politicking. Not really politicking, but doing this shit that she has to do.
Like she's mitigating at this
politic-wise.
point. Like there's
Yeah.
who knows
There's
what's
no way
going on
around
with
it.
the mercenaries.
And we're at the peanut gallery anyway. And at some point, I think, when there's nobody in earshot, he's just going to be like, so who's your dapper 9-foot-tall friend?
Shit, he's thanked him, huh? I
that
didn't
it
want to
did.
talk about it. It was a dark time, but sure enough, if he ain't a powerful patron, uh, this Pater, I think was
Oh,
the
you don't know that name, right? But
You
he
don't yet.
does.
You don't yet.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Oh,
But you recognize the
yeah, he's
description because that's you've seen
no, I've
you've seen
seen
him
You've
him.
seen
I've
the
before.
seen him
silhouette.
before. I've seen him in dark times when I don't want to accept that help, but damn it, it ain't for me.
And you
We
know
need
that
that help.
that adamantine cane just looks like a cane, but it's also
And
any sword he
MC's
needs.
gonna go like, your patron is Dispater, Lord
Oh,
of the Iron City of Dis,
sure as shit. Knew he had a name somewhere in there.
second of the nine hells.
Sounds like you know more about him than I do.
We
How
have
how screwed am I?
a
He was there to
history.
help when we needed help.
Well, it is likely he will do everything in his power to use you up until you're nothing but a nub.
Yeah, so here's the weird thing. He asked me if I wanted a city, like my own city. And I said, no, what am I going to do with the city?
Have you ever had, like, a shitty job with a terrible supervisor? And then, like, the assistant supervisor gets fired, and they ask you if you would like to take up that position for 1 gold piece more an hour. And you think, hell no!
Oh, good times, good times. Yeah, I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you. I have no more inspiration to give. You all have it, all the inspiration. So you've got that to reckon with, and make no mistakes, there'll be a reckoning. But you don't feel in the immediate vicinity. You are further away from a city at this point, and moving up the trail. And although the trail is dark, it's more that the trail is dark because the dirt has been walked away on it to reveal coal in this part of the forest. Similar to the region of England that they call the Black Earth, where the coal is close to the surface. That appears to be where you find yourselves. And the stink of Chlorocharis hangs in the air like dead vegetation and bleach. I'm dragging your tokens to the map.
Roll initiative.
You know me so well.
He's got 4 tokens to move before he says that.
And I gotta share with you. But give it a little time. The canopy of centuries old trees block out all but the most insistent beams of sunlight, but none of them are insisting here in this small clearing. The clearing is only a clearing because there's smaller trees growing beneath the canopy. Far up the bark of these trees, you can see scorch marks, and moss has grown in irregular patterns where long ago a fire may have swept through. But the vapor that hangs in the air, you've smelled before. Thankfully, it's not getting stronger, and it's faint on the breeze. So you know that the worm is not here now, but was. You don't see any sheep. You don't see any shepherds. You don't see much of anything. It's dark and hazy under the looming forest above. Dusk is not quite pine coning with his scales and barbels, but he's visibly uncomfortable at the smell of a big, strong dragon like this. What y'all doing?
Man, they exert a presence. We are investigating the shepherd's camp, correct? Is that what we've arrived at?
Yeah, it looks like it's just about 60, 70 feet up ahead, around a little bend in the trail. Y'all have the map? You able to see now? If it's too
Yeah,
dark,
just populated.
Okay, cool.
I'm good.
And this is a river?
No, this is the trail,
black
but
path.
it's a black path because it's been worn down
right.
to where there's a lot of loose pieces of coal in the trail.
Wait, they don't know you can burn coal for fuel?
They do, but they
It's just not worth it on the trail? There's just so much.
a lot of what they
They-
do, they make something a little different up in these parts where you've got brandy from the wine country in Riverport. North of Rockter, folks like to smoke various grains in peat and coal and toast them for other distillates. Whiskey that tastes like smoke because the grains were smoked on coal.
The reason why the coal's probably here is because the Fae probably don't like people coming and taking it. Right?
Nobody's mining it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
I mount up on Dusk.
Okay.
He's a little bit more. He's a little safer when I'm riding him, ironically. So.
And the higher level you get, the more stout he gets. So Eldine, you're going on to. Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to hide in a shrubbery.
I'm going to put you in a shrubbery.
Take a hit of Sylphane and mutter, "Smells like lizard farts."
Awesome. I'll keep Dusk near you, but I know that you're mounted.
I'm gonna look for. I mean, we didn't see a lot. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm gonna try to make a concentrated effort to look for more signs of people. If the shepherds ever really made their camp here, if they were here, if I can see any hoof prints in the coal,
Smart.
signs of maybe large wings having displaced leaves and things.
Okay.
The whole shebang, if I can. I'll ride
Yeah,
Dusk up and around.
Yeah. Let's.
My plan is to go ahead of the party also and scope it out.
Okay.
Taylor
But staying
will
in the bushes and stuff.
strum a gentle tune on his kora and hum to himself, attracting any attention that might be in the nearby woods and trying to give a distraction for his more stealthy compatriots.
Okay. I'm going to give everybody else a perception check then. I'm going to make it open because that's fun too. And when you make hidden rolls all night, you want to do one out in the open. Yep, I think there's one more out there.
Empty pockets.
It's so perfect.
I used an inspiration to try to get advantage out of that. Didn't roll very good, but hey.
So the trees around here, they're the smaller, younger trees, so they're only about 50, 60 feet high below the canopy, which is hundreds. The green is underbrush. It's waist high for a medium-sized critter, human or an elf, and over the head of any small-sized creatures. Just so you know, so it's difficult terrain either way. There's just enough of a gap in it, empty, that looking up, you can tell that this is where the camp was. Went ahead and circled that on the map there. And something is bubbling and roiling about upon the bodies of a sheep and at least one human, demi-human, a gnome or a halfling. You're unable to tell, but somebody is getting eaten or dissolved, digested by creature.
Acid or
Yeah.
does it look like a creature, or does it just look like
Well, at first you think
liquid
it's a plant, but this plant appears to keep within it bits and pieces of those it digests, and it looks like the eating's been pretty good lately.
Okay.
And
I'm a double
that's
back.
where we're gonna roll for initiative.
That's horrible. Whatever that
If
is.
you want, because
That's
they have
grody.
not detected you. If y'all want to move a little closer to get into position, we can delay it, and it'll come down to sneaking up on them. But this thing has not taken notice of the party.
Okay, so I'll inform them, and then we can decide.
Yep.
Who?
I mean,
is
I'd
it-
love a chance to
Shut
get in
up.
a better position, but Merkala's not sneaking in her half plate and her dragon. You know,
Right.
I mean,
What?
And even your
The only
efforts to
one who
move up
really
there
needs
might
to be in
trigger this.
position is Empty Pockets. For that good assassin bullshit. Everybody else should probably just be set out here to receive whatever this thing is.
So the green underbrush
Okay,
counts as difficult terrain, but it does not provide cover, so you can totally pop up from it and hit things without cover being in the way. That's the good news.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna sneak up and see how much damage I can do, and then, then back away towards the party.
It's not a dragon, though.
Plan.
It's not a dragon.
But
No, this is some other something going on
Thankfully,
here.
it is not a dragon. Unfortunately, it's awful.
Yeah, that.
And I wonder if it was triggered by the dragon's presence. We wonder what I can't remember the quote, but they were concerned that the dragon's corruption
what's gonna ruin the
would
whole
turn the
forest,
fae
the fae,
things.
the things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long list.
More
I'm suddenly getting an image of the Mr. Yuck stickers, except it's Chloroshoras. Cartoon dragon breathing fumes. Like, no.
Yeah.
We just need to put a Mr. Yuck sticker on Chlorosharis, and kids will know to
Done.
not drink.
And it's done.
When they find that dragon under the sink, don't drink it. Don't drink
Problem
it.
solved.
So you managed to make it up to about there. Let's go ahead and have you make it.
I mean,
a stealthy check. Go ahead.
Please. Oh yeah, just. I mean, what if you think that something would be more reasonable because you have a better idea?
No.
But yeah, I mean, close, but I want to be close to getting out of the bushes too, so I'm not stuck in the middle of a huge swath of difficult terrain.
Don't get stuck in the bramble, the briar
Yeah.
patch. So that's your 22. I'm gonna have the critter, the unidentified critter, this strange amorphous plant critter. I'm gonna have it go ahead and make a perception check with a 22 as its target. It rolled a pitiful 9. It is intent to just keep sucking the marrow and flesh from the bones that inhabit its viney tissues. You have a better look at it now, and you actually see the art that I shared and all of the demi-human deer and sheep skulls that are within its mass.
Got it. Okay. Let's do some damage, kids. Where is my sneaky attack?
Oops. Behind the screen.
Okay. Nice. Oh wait, hold on. No, I gotta do advantage. So many steps. Okay.
Oh, but that's how you get natural 20s.
Snap.
What a great way to start the fight and possibly end the session.
Finally, that advantage 20.
What the fuck?
Critical.
Because you critted.
Oh,
On a
yeah.
sneak attack.
Yeah.
Everything's doubled.
Woof.
34 points of damage. Welcome to the party. I'm gonna say you hit it so
Initiative.
hard.
Oh.
You hit it so hard you identified it. It's a
Uh-huh.
it's an arbor site. So an arbor site is a large chaotic plant, right? Go ahead and share this art for the viewers at home. A mound of thorn-covered vines writhes into motion, rearing up to reveal an assemblage of bleached bones at its core. A hellish light gleams from the empty sockets of its many skulls as they look around for where this arrow came from that comes out of the brush, arcs, dives into them, and buries itself in the ground beneath them, opening a fissure in this creature's mass. And that is where we're going to stop for tonight. We'll roll initiative when we come back next week. I think that's a good place to be.
Yes.
Check us out next week. Going to be coming up on episode 11. Hope to have our wizard with us, conveniently flying in. And no time to explain myself. I'm here to save the day and be the MVP again. So that is how we will hopefully open up next session, because if you think there's just one little critter hiding out at the shepherd's camp, oh, you haven't been paying attention. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and drop some thanks in ye old chat. We're going to go around the horn and let's talk highs and lows. Since
Cool shit of the night.
Cool shit of the night. Yeah, go ahead and let's hear your cool shit of the night. What do we got? Remember, you can't pick yourself. Come to a consensus if you can. I'll settle any ties.
I'll start this because I opened my big fat mouth. All of tonight was a high. That was just fantastic. I mean, every turn from finding out Lauren Tora was likely not a traitor, excellent, to turning this situation potentially to our advantage, or at the very least to a good situation in Rockter. I mean, things were bad and they're not anymore. Cool shit of the night award. I'm definitely going the entire Dispatcher story thread, from him showing up and talking once again to Eldine, to Empty Pockets seeing him, to have you ever had a really terrible boss? that whole chunk of
That
roleplay
arc
from y'all
Yeah.
was fantastic. That's my vote for tonight.
Parts of that arc gave me chills, literally. It was well done. A lot of that is on Tom, our fabulous DM. But I'm just gonna
say,
second that.
Yeah, I agree, but where's the cool shit go? Because it sounds like it goes to the DM.
It might just have to.
Then all I can say is everybody starts with inspiration next session. Because
I mean, we won't argue.
follow up
But no,
anyway.
but
I
that was
agree,
a
it's
lovely
definitely
drop.
the Despotter lore drop and the way Eldine and Empty both handled it. I'm not saying it goes to the DM. I'm saying it goes to two players, which maybe it's one too
There you
many, but that's my take on it. I also agree there's not a lot of lows. This was
No, like
That's
Mirkala
my thing,
handled
it's all
that,
high
like
points.
greeting the cohort and then talking to Lantorna,
Yeah,
like
that was sick too.
That was,
That was sick too.
we shouldn't overlook that. It was really, really smart how you handled that. So, like Taylor said, good shit all around.
All highs, no lows. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna be happy about it because I had.
I guess the low's not having flicks.
That's true.
That
Yeah.
is true. Captain cool shit of the night. Not even
Once
here.
again, when we could have used him.
Yeah, I know. We really could have.
Well, I better put away the battle music for another time because we're gonna pick up with this kicking off next week. Check us out next week. Check us out next Saturday for more Pathfinder 2nd Edition in Papa Kev's wonderful adventure where we're playing our transplanted D&D characters from previous seasons. I just had a character go and buy farmland, take a dirt nap forever. She is not coming back. My fate was in my hands, and I was rolling ones. So I've got a new character in the works that I've told some of my people, and I've told everybody here with, but none of the players in that game. Looking forward to that reveal. We're going to keep doing what we're calling Tunneling Through the Holidays every Wednesday night to the end of the year, our 20th episode of this season, and our finale for the second season of Legends of the Old Kingdoms will take place, I believe it's December 27th. and it may be a slightly longer episode because some fights go the distance. And look forward to seeing y'all. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Paul Messier for our theme song, which absolutely slaps. Thank you to Kevin MacLeod for other music. Thank you to Sirenscape. If you want to check out Sirenscape, please do so. It will, any game you're running online, you're going to have pro sound with easy to use tools. There's slider bars, buttons. You can tailor and scale it to the way you want to run your game, and they've got thousands and thousands of wonderful sounds and soundtracks. So if you want to have pro sound in your games, Sirenscape is the easiest way to achieve that. Thank you, everybody. I'm Asmo Danikar. We're Heathen Cantina. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Good night, everybody.